Stockton, Hornacek, Antoine Carr, Karl Malone, and Brian Russell. If they score, there's a game 7. If they don't, for the second straight year, they go out in 6. Stockton, Harper's on him. Behind the screen, Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat. When you lose by this narrow margin, speaking of the Utah Jazz, there are so many things to look back on. But the Howard Isley 3 that was taken away in the first half will eat at them all summer long. Jackson and Jordan, perhaps for the last time. Chicago 87, Utah 86. Jerry Sloan showing class, trying to shake hands with each and every member of the Chicago Bulls, who won 2 out of 3 here and 2 out of 3 in Chicago.
Thanks, boy. Dave, thanks, boy. Thanks, Mike.
Statistically, especially in terms of shooting percentage, Michael Jordan has had better games. But when you consider at age 35, the games he's played this year, the grinding minutes he's played, and Scottie Pippen being all but incapacitated tonight, and the fact that they're on the road, and the fact that the odds would shift to Utah's favor for a Game 7, yes, MJ rose again. He no longer needs accomplishments to prove his case as the greatest player in NBA history. He just adds to it. And if this is the final chapter, what a way to close the book.
I tell you, Bob, as you look at Scottie Pippen there, I remember all Scottie ever heard about was the migraine headache and that he couldn't play with pain. Well, today, they could not have won this game without him. Just his presence being out there. He made some big shots. He fed the post. He did all the little things for Chicago, and his numbers aren't going to show it. But Michael, once again, with the heroics, the unbelievable plays. But his sidekick, Scottie Pippen, was there for him when he needed him.
And I'm watching Michael Jordan hug his mother right there. Such a great player, such a great person. Everything that this game is about, the goodness of it, he represents, and what he's done for the game of basketball and for this Chicago Bulls organization. All of us as former athletes are very thankful to 23 in red.
Michael Jordan is as great a competitor as sports has ever seen. He also has an uncanny sense of theater. And as he makes his decision, he'll think about the fact that he could not ask for a better punctuation than this. He accepts a victory cigar from Jerry Reinsdorf to not only hit the winning basket, but have it be the last shot he takes this season, maybe the last he'll ever take in a Chicago Bulls uniform, to win the game and the championship by a point.
You know, Bob, it's interesting about Michael Jordan. He's a guy who has nothing to prove, but lives his life every day as if he has everything to prove. That's something about his greatness. He's an unbelievable athlete.
One more look at a shot you'll be seeing hundreds of times if you're a basketball fan. You'll see it dozens of times on the highlight shows tonight. Stockton gets rid of it. It's short. Harper had a hand in his face and maybe even got a small piece of the ball.
I thought Stockton had a great look right there. It was a well-executed play. Stockton and Malone, and that's who you want taking your last shot, because he's made so many big shots for Utah. You know, my heart goes out to Stockton and Malone, because those two, more than any other two athletes in this era, really deserve a shot at wearing a championship ring.
A shot can hardly come much closer than that without going in. For the celebration, here's Dan Roberts, the PA man.
And now, please direct your attention to center court for the presentation of the 1998 NBA Finals MVP and the Larry O'Brien Championship Trophy.
It is now time to make the 1998 Championship Trophy presentation. Joining me up here are the chairman, Jerry Reinsdorf, vice president, Jerry Krause, head coach, Phil Jackson, and to make that presentation, here's the commissioner of the NBA, Mr. David Stern.
The two best teams in the NBA this season were the Utah Jazz and the Chicago Bulls. These two teams in these finals, wonderfully matched and motivated, treated the world of basketball to NBA basketball at its heart-stopping best. To both teams, thank you. But to the Chicago Bulls, the 1998 NBA champion, and a team for the ages, congratulations to this team, to this organization, to its fans, and to these great players.
All right, Mr. Reinsdorf. Chicago Bulls fans all over the world would like to know, are you going to do everything you can possible to bring these guys back here to try to do this all over again?
Well, let me first, Ahmad, say that on behalf of millions of Bulls fans all around the world, it's an honor to accept this trophy. It's only unfortunate that we can't have co-champions, because this Utah Jazz team is just the greatest team that we've ever played. 2 years in a row, they took us as far as you could take anybody. Winning six championships in 8 years is unbelievable. It's a tribute to a great coach and his staff, great players, Scotty and Michael, an unbelievable performance by Scotty and Payne tonight, Jerry Krause and his staff, just unbelievable. And on behalf of millions of Bulls fans all over the world, I can only hope and pray that Michael and Scotty will come back and defend the championship one more time.
I take that as a yes. You are going to try to bring them back. Jerry Krause, you have to be very proud of this team.
I'm so proud of these players and the staff. And this is for the fans back in Chicago, the greatest sports fans in the world. And we're just so happy. We're going to celebrate safe, guys, and we'll be home tomorrow morning.
All right, Jerry, let me ask you, you do everything you can to bring these guys back.
Well, you know, tonight all I want to do is celebrate and have fun, and we're going to talk later on. But this is a great occasion. And what Jerry said about the Utah club, Jerry Sloan and Scotty Layden are special people, and this is just a great organization, and it's somebody that you're proud of that you can be with.
All right, Jerry, let's talk to Phil Jackson.
Yes, I'm on.
Once again, another journey to the top of the mountain. How is this one different from the other five?
Well, Ahmad, we had to fight our way through this one. This is a real struggle for us this year against overwhelming odds. Maybe not as talented as the last 2 years, but they had a great heart. Hearts of a champion, as Michael has said. They won it.
All right, you will celebrate tonight. Are you going to come back?
Gee, that's a great question, Ahmad. I'll dodge that one right now. Thanks.
All right, Phil. All right, once again, it is now time for the 1998 NBA Finals Most Valuable Player Award. And once again, here's the Commissioner, David Stern.
Big surprise. 6 championships, 6 MVPs. Michael Jordan, get over here. You graced us with your presence. You've contributed mightily to our league. And tonight you gave one of the singular performances in the history of the NBA Finals. Thank you and congratulations, 1998 NBA Finals MVP, Michael Jordan.
Michael, you have won this award before, but somehow I have the feeling that this one is more special than all of them.
Well, let me say hello to my wife and my kids at home, because they desperately wanted to come. I didn't want them to come here today because I wanted to focus on the game, but I wish they were here to help me celebrate. I know they're there cheering, and I can't wait to get home. But to the Utah fans, you guys are a tough bunch to play in front of. You guys came out with a lot of loyalty and respect for your team. You made it really tough for us. We really, after losing Game 5 in Chicago, couple of us dread coming back to Utah because we had to deal with the fans because of the energy that they bring to the game. But we had no choice, so we had to come in and play our best, and you guys made it a very competitive finals, and you know, it's very worthy to win this, and I think of all the championships that we've won, this is the toughest.
It doesn't get any easier, but at the beginning of the season, this was the goal that you set out for. How wonderful was it to make this into a reality?
Well, I tell you, when you start the season, I'm pretty sure every team next year is going to start with the focus of finishing and winning their last game. We started with that focus. It was a long road, a lot of different tasks and little bumps in the road, but somehow we made it, and I think everybody who looks at this year is going to have a lot of gratification and understanding and a lot of dedication.
There were a lot of times during the course of the season that people doubted the Chicago Bulls, doubted that you'd be able to come back and pull this off. Even during this finals series here, people doubted you. How did you guys stay so confident?
Well, I mean, this team is one. Our leadership is strong. Our leadership is very positive, very determined, and it filters down to the rest of the players. And we never let anybody give up. You know, we believed in it, and we kept coming for it.
All right, I've asked everybody if they're all going to come around to try to do this again. One more time?
I would love for that to happen. I think that's something that's got to have to be determined over the summer.
All right. Congratulations, Michael. Congratulations, Chicago Bulls. Let's go over to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Tonight, one of the truly gutty performances in the finals by Scottie Pippen. Scottie, how badly were you hurt during this game?
I was hurting pretty bad, you know, to start the game off. I was able to get a dunk when I came down. The pain just sort of built from that point, and every time I tried to run, I was getting spasms. But I knew I wanted to come back and try to give a better performance in the second half, so I just tried to take advantage of that little bit of time before the half and, you know, see what I can do. And I came out the second half, and Chip wanted to give me a little treatment, and I took the treatment, and I told him from there I was going to just try to gut it out. You know, I felt like that my presence out on the floor would mean more than just sitting in the locker room.
Initially, you didn't think you could come back, and then the miracle happened there at halftime. How much did you revert back to some of the things that had happened to you in the past, and you knew that if you gutted it out this time that it could change all of that?
Well, I knew I was going to come back the second half. I have to correct you on that. I knew, but I just didn't know how much I was going to be able to give. I knew I wanted to just hope that the team could stay in the game, keep it close, and if I could come back out, let my presence be known out on the court.
Now, Scottie, you were in tears after the game. Was this your most difficult championship, and why the tears this time? Is it maybe because you feel it's ending?
Well, I think they all have brought tears to my eyes, but this one was so difficult because, you know, I felt like to some degree without me being out on the court that I was kind of letting the team down, and they understood, but, you know, I wanted to be there. I wanted to be a presence. I wanted to play a major role in the game, but the other guys came off the bench. They held us in there the first half, especially Michael. He had a heck of a game, and, you know, everything else is history.
Now, you hold the key here to these teams returning. Michael said if you come back, he'll come back, and Phil and so forth. What are your thoughts? Will you come back? Would you take a one-year deal? What will go through your thought process in making this determination?
Well, Jim, right now, I just have to, you know, let everything soak in. You know, there's a lot of opportunities out there for me, and, you know, I have to look more down the road in my future, but, you know, I don't know. You know, after all this is soaked in and get back and get my back on track, you know, you never know.
Is there a twinge of sadness with you, a little melancholy feeling right now that it may be ending?
Excuse me?
Are you feeling a little sad right now that this could be coming to a close?
No, not really. You know, we're going to enjoy this, and, you know, as long as we can. You know, as a player right now, I don't feel like it's over. You know, we got a lot of celebration to do, and I'm not really looking forward to next season right now.
Final thought, the Utah Jazz and Karl Malone, a spectacular effort. What would your thoughts be toward them?
It was great. You know, Carl and John, you know, they're some gutty performers. Whether it's Hornacek, Russell, who's grown and matured and, you know, had a fabulous series. You know, we take our hats off to this team. The fans here have really came out and made us work hard. You know, it was a great series. You know, it was a even better series than last series. Even though, you know, both series ended at 6 games, this topped it all.
Scottie, congratulations. A truly gutsy performance.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back now to Bob Costas.
Thanks, Jim. To back up the accolades offered to Karl Malone by Scottie Pippen, Malone had 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in 43 minutes tonight. And even as they could not stop Scottie and Michael from claiming another title, Malone managed to average 25 points and 10.5 rebounds in the series. We'll talk with Karl Malone when we come back after this from your local station.
Here at NBC, our research says that people missed over half the episodes of their favorite shows. Hey, it happens. Visitors show up, you get interrupted, whatever. The episodes you might have missed. haven't.
MVP trophy because he carried it.
It's small, but powerful enough to bring people together who are worlds apart. Its microphone reaches down to catch your softest whispers. Its jog dial navigator makes getting in touch as easy as touching. Sony's remarkable
drive very simply offer these words. Michael Jeffrey Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. 6 championships in 8 years. How you doing, everybody? I'm Chet Kopic. Welcome to Live in the Locker Room, joined by my buddy, the godfather of the flying elbow, our buddy, Norm Van Leer. You know, at this point, you heave the cleansing breath, the sigh of relief. You try and soak in what you have just witnessed. For example, watch Hornacek with a basketball. Now look at Malone, under heavy pressure. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, 35 years old with the basketball. Just one of the big plays MJ turned in down the stretch. Here is a play, a shot that will never, ever be forgotten. Michael loses the defender on the dribble, knocks down the J. The Bulls are victorious by 187 to 86. One tremendous night of basketball. Michael Jordan, a champion for the 6th time in 8 years, as is the case with Scottie Pippen, as is the case with Phil Jackson. Before we join our buddy, the Dutchman, go live to the Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah, courtside, where Eric Collins is standing. DC, son of a gun, pal. The party is in, and the tabs have been paid.
Absolute pandemonium here at the Delta Center, Chet. An absolutely incredible scene. The guys just went back right past me a moment ago. Dennis Rodman is coming through right now. We may actually see if we can talk to Dennis in just a moment. Oh, Dennis is running like, uh-oh. Here comes Dennis. Doesn't look like he wants to talk to anyone right now. Oh, wow. An unbelievably poor display right here. Someone threw Coke in Dennis Rodman's face. Wow. Dennis Rodman.
Guys did the best.
People that work with him. I don't think, Dennis, we really want to hear what he's saying right now because this is not nice. Folks, we're going to have a ton of coverage here in this postgame. Every single thing will be uncovered. We're going to talk to Dennis. We'll talk to Michael. We'll do everything, and we'll do it the right way. Folks, it's going to be a lot of fun here. Hopefully, things will get a lot better than this scene we just saw right here. But now let's go back to Chet and Norm. Unbelievable out here in the Delta Center. Chet.
Brutally unfortunate. We'll stay with that should anything dramatic transpire. Some fans throwing a...
Give them credit. They won. You know, what else can you say?
Do you feel as though this was Michael Jordan's last game?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Michael's last game or not.
Scottie Pippen in tears over here. You're not sure about Michael Jordan. What did Scottie just say to you?
Oh, no, he just told me good game.
Well, you're a class act. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Among the many things you can say in praise of Karl Malone, he has never ducked the media. Win or lose, he is always there to stick his chin out and take it for better or worse. And tonight, another magnificent performance by Malone, but nevertheless, his team falls just a point short. Moments ago, Ahmad Rashad caught up with Dennis Rodman.
Okay, right? All right, thanks, Bob. Dennis, you said you didn't want to come back out to Utah, but none of this would have been possible unless you did come back out here.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't want to come back to Utah, but you know how the world goes. It goes around in circles. So I guess we had to come back. So this was a very emotional win. It wasn't a physical game. It was a very emotional win as far as the mental aspect. But you know, got to give it to the team. Everybody stuck together. We won it.
All right. So people are now talking about what about next year? Are you coming back? Would you like to get everybody back together?
I would love to come back to Chicago. I mean, Chicago gave me my break, and you know, I love to be back if they want me back. But we'd like to get the whole nucleus back and form a team and get one last dance.
Dennis, you had a great season. Congratulations to a great champion.
Just so everybody in Dallas, way to go, baby.
All right, back to you, Bob.
Ahmad, thanks very much. Much more to come. On the post-game show, we'll...
Energy and allowing themselves to get picked, as you saw there. You can't have that. You just can't have that. So when you move like this, you know that team's going to be full of energy, being Utah, playing at home, coming back after winning the 5th game here in Chicago. The Bulls just kind of stood around, and the officials definitely could start calling the illegal defense, and they got a lot of that. But then when you lay it up like that and get the job done, they isolated and did well. The Bulls fought. They fought hard. They were right there. But once again, a lot of times, Chet, the illegal defense was called and coming over. There it was called. Didn't get it the first 3 games at all, basically, and 1 game not at all. All of a sudden, it's all illegal defense, which I think is the dumbest, stupidest rule in basketball. Why don't you just let these pros play against any type of D there is? If they're that great, then you go and work against it. But good defense down the stretch run and 48 minutes of being there helped this team. And Hornacek, key shots first half. Second half was a big, huge difference when it came to the shooting, because Malone cooled off a little bit. Hornacek certainly cooled off, and that was the name of the game. Here's the defense again. Close the gap. Nice pass. This team was working the rock, as we call it. Penetration. Actually, he didn't do much in this ball game at all, Chet, at this particular time. But also at the same time, some keys I would like to have had in here with some stretch run with Michael playing. They're taking shots after shot to keep this team in it, because he had no one else to help him on the offense. And then he comes up with the big steal at the end and the major and key shot. He had 4 steals, but that 4th one was the biggest steal of Michael's career.
All right, things to talk about. Scottie Pippen, the limited playing time tonight because of the injured back. What about Karl Malone, who is limited in terms of...
You're not just building a team.
During the second half, there is the celebration by the man from Wilmington, North Carolina. A champion again, Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
By Cellular One, the wireless phone company.
Or had to listen to this woman talk about her cat. For those who have slept with their eyes open, we bring you Working, just like you. NBC Wednesdays.
Okie dokie. Us to the locker rooms, and in the meantime, let's go to the Showtime crew, headed by Hannah Storm. Happy birthday, by the way, Hannah.
Thanks a lot, Bob. I think that was a very important detail we needed to cover at this point. But we'll get some final thoughts from you, Doug, and Isaiah in just a few moments. First, though, we have Peter Vesey, John Sally, and Bill Walton. And, Bill, this championship, not just for the city of Chicago, but for Bulls fans and basketball fans around the world.
Anna, the championships are so special. The style, the joy, the amazing grace of the Bulls. Just a priceless treasure for the entire world of basketball that just absolutely love the way they play. These guys are so good and have done so much for the sport of basketball. They demand our ultimate respect, which they certainly have. They also demand, though, to be kept together for absolutely as long as possible.
Well, Michael Jordan, the MVP tonight, his 6th MVP award, and he willed his team to a championship this evening. And Scottie Pippen, such a force in the series, and a courageous performance tonight, John, playing with that back injury.
Well, like I said, Scottie showed all kind of loyalty, and I hope the Chicago Bulls remember that, Hannah, that he came in, took a shot, went back and forth, did everything you could possibly do to play, being on the court. This guy showed the most unbelievable character. Even though Michael Jordan got that trophy, I think they gave it to Michael because, you know, Scottie couldn't carry it off. It was too heavy for him. But Michael should hand that over to him because he definitely was co-MVP.
Jordan with the final 8 points for his team tonight and the big steal down the stretch. Unbelievable.
Hannah, if Michael saw this as conceivably his last game with the Bulls, what chance did the Jazz really have? The stakes were much too high. However, if there's more to come, if Michael stays and the core stays intact, lucky us, we're game. If Michael does retire, we've been privileged. And if Michael stays and Pippen leaves, then what's left, Hannah? Let's find out which one can win a championship without the other one.
Well, at this point, we're going to go back down to the floor and get more post-game comments as we join Jim Gray. Jim?
All right. Thank you very much, Hannah. I'm now joined by Tony Kukoc and Ron Harper. Harp, let's start with you. You weren't feeling very good tonight, but you managed to play. How difficult was it for you out there?
Well, I had a tough half, I think. But the main thing was that we had guys that came in and played big. We had guys that made real key shots. We had some good defensive plays late in the ball game. And this was great. This was a great win for our team. Our hats off to the Jazz and their fans. It was a great series. And I'm happy it's over.
Can you describe for us, please, as a teammate, your thoughts on the performance of Scottie Pippen?
Oh, Scottie Pippen was was courageous today. You know, he definitely didn't feel well, and I definitely knew that, and our teammate knew, and we lost him early during the half, but he came out in the last quarter and just played big for a basketball team, and he made some real key shots for us.
He went to put the champagne.
Harp, you made the biggest shots for us.
Well, let's ask him. Tony, how sweet is this one compared to the others as you're now being doused with champagne? We all are in here.
This is the sweetest one. This is the toughest one that we got so far, but it's the sweetest one. Especially before early in the series, they said we are underdogs. When we lost at the last game in Chicago, they said we have no chance coming in here, but we still the champs.
You managed to step up your performance in this championship series. You've taken a lot of criticism. How personally satisfying is it for you to have that now behind you?
It's very satisfying for me. That's the way we Croatians are, the survivors, and we're trying to do the same thing, just trying to play my best every time I step on the court.
You are one of the few guys who definitely will be back here next year. What are your thoughts on this team remaining intact?
If I can, if it's my decision, I will leave this team until it dies. I mean,
you think that will happen?
It's a great team. I hope it does. I hope it does. There's no reason to split the team that is winning, that is doing an incredible job on the court.
Phil closed the locker room here for about 7 minutes. What was it that he said to you guys as you all huddled together privately?
Nothing. Nothing new. It was just our own celebration.
What now? What do you think the timetable will be? There's a possible lockout looming now. What do you think the timetable will be for the return of Phil Jackson and then Michael and Scotty?
Nothing we can do. Just wait and hope that it's going to end up being good.
Tony, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, now let's send it back outside to Bob Costas.
Come on.
Jim, thanks again. There's more to come from Salt Lake City. We'll have more interviews and a look back at this Bulls dynasty when the postgame show rolls on after this.
Ann Hammond and Southern Wisconsin, sit back and dig it. There is your final. The Bulls win this series 4-2 as we join the former Chicago Bull, his uniform number 4 retired. Here is Jerry Sloan.
If we keep the same attitude, obviously there's some young players out there, young teams out there that you have to compete with. We're going to hear the same story we've heard for 5 years, that this team's window of opportunity has been closed for 5 years. But I'm going to tell you something. These guys showed a great deal of heart as to who they were all year long to come back and compete and put themselves in this position. And we knew last year that the people said, well, this team is not going to be back. But, you know, I have tremendous confidence over the years because of the heart they have. Maybe we haven't been able to get there, but they've showed a great deal of desire. In tough times, those are the toughest times for anybody to deal with. Everybody can stand back and put their hands in the air when they won, but how good are you, how tough are you when it's been tough? Our guys have done that, and I admire that as much as winning. Not everybody can win.
Coach?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jordan scored 45 of the 87 points for the Bulls. What was the strategy that you told them to try to stop him in the last minute, particularly on the game-winning shot?
Well, one of the things that you got to try to do, and one of the things we felt like we had a tough time, we could have gone and doubled him. He's not shooting a great percentage. We know he's going to shoot well down the stretch, but we want to try to force him into the middle when he got the baseline about 3 times in the latter part of the ball game. Those are things that you have to be able to do. That's our philosophy. It's been our philosophy for 13 years here, as long as we've been involved, and we have to continue to try to make those things work. You have to give him credit. You know, he's a guy that can, all your philosophies you can throw out the window. You can double him, you can push him to the middle, but he's still a great player to make those kind of plays. We have to live with that. We're not going to change our whole structure of basketball just because of one player. And we have to, obviously, we're certainly aware of the things he can do, but you have to understand who he is, and our people are working hard, they're trying hard. They didn't say, you can have it, we're going to give it to you. So you're going to be questioned regardless, and I don't have a problem with that. I thought our players tried. The mistakes that we made were costly, and you go from there. That's the only thing I know.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Scottie Pippen? Obviously hurt. He couldn't do much offensively. What did he do for them
Well,
defensively?
he did pretty well. When he posted us up a couple of times, he came in the lane and got some shots on us. It's very difficult to stop. You know, we're at a mismatch there sometimes. We keep Hornacek out there and the players we got, so we were caught in no man's land a little bit, a time or two, because he's a guy that can hurt you. But I thought our guys played pretty hard. I thought they played pretty hard in trying to do the right things.
Okay, last questions for Coach Sloan. Okay?
Yeah.
How would you summarize your team's season? It's been a long season for you guys. How would you summarize it?
I think our guys have done a pretty good job. I don't know how other people look at it, but I think they've done a pretty good job. Our team has played pretty well as a team to try to get to this spot. I thought we had some moments where we had to really stay together. We did that. I think if there's one thing that hurt us probably more than anything else in all the whole season was a 10-day layoff. I can't do anything about that. That's the rules. Our guys were playing with terrific confidence and playing with a great rhythm, but that's the rules. You can't worry about that. But I know what rhythm we were in and the confidence we had. And you can't put guys on the floor and simulate a game situation. I don't care how hard you try it. We tried as hard as you possibly can, in my opinion, to try to simulate those things, and it just is not going to happen. Players are going to have a natural letdown, a natural drop down, and we took us a while to come back out of that to where we felt like we could compete at another level. And that's part of sports. You live with it, you go home. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Sloan.
He is a man who defines the word class. As I mentioned, former Chicago Bull, jersey number 4. How will the historians recall this championship team, for example, 10 years from now?
Well, this particular championship team that just won this one, I think, is the guttiest one of them all. I think the lack of, if I not disrespect for anybody on this basketball team, I don't think they have nearly the talent they've had in the first few years of winning this championship. I think guys came in and just gut-checked themselves, and the championship of Michael's, what he believes in, rubbed off on some of these guys. I think people did more than what they're capable of doing. I think the heart and beat and the soul of Michael and ending this game is just, history should be like this at all times, because it just showed what Michael Jordan is about. He would not let this team lose. He kept shooting the ball. This is one time I agree with him. He had to, because no one else was around. Scotty wasn't around. The only other person I like to have seen get involved more in this situation was Tony Kukoc. But to compare the rest of these championships, I think this is the one championship that Michael ended the game on winning shots. Think about last-second shots. It's always been somebody else, not Michael. This was a great one to end. If he comes back, if he doesn't come back, whatever. This was outstanding. Bless you, Michael. Love you. This is it. And I'm happy. I'm ready to run around this room here. This is it. This is the greatest championship of the 6, in my opinion.
Man, run like hell. In the midst of distractions, he was a constant. We joined the Zen Master, the head coach of the world champion Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson.
Support them, as tough as they are. They put up a heck of a fight, and it was a fight worth having. I know they're not disappointed because they went down with a struggle and they went down playing the way they play.
Okay, we'll take questions.
Yeah.
You ready? You. 1 second. You.
Phil, there have been reports in Seattle, Denver, and L.A. that all those teams want to talk to you as soon as your season's over. If they approach you, will you have conversations with them?
I think they want to congratulate me on the 6th championship, and I'll accept those calls. Thanks.
Congratulations. Could you just talk about them opting to single-team Jordan when he hit the game-winning shot with 6 seconds to go?
Well, they're so effective with us having Michael on the post. They came from the blind side. They were able to snipe with Stockton down there. We just put him out on the floor a little farther today, I gave him the ball in a space where he could operate. He started taking the ball to the hoop. He did everything. But he had three-pointers on in. But the reality was it made it difficult for them to find a place to come from and where to go from to leave people. And I can't blame their defense. I would say that the way they played defense on them during the series, they felt they had the ability to control them.
Phil Michaels said after the game that he would talk about his future decided during the summer. I was wondering if this was the end for him, was this a great way to end it, in your opinion? And how should he be best remembered, you think, as an NBA player?
I don't know if I can add to that question.
Every bit as impressive as his artistry. So whenever it ends, it's been an incredible ride for Jordan and the Bulls, and we at NBC have been privileged to be taken along for that ride. So as we say goodnight, we'd like to acknowledge the work of all the people who made these telecasts possible. For everyone at NBC Sports, good night from Salt Lake City.
Conference. This was the championship for the whole NBA, and I still say the age, where he's come, the gut feel, to me is the greatest. This is my opinion. This is the greatest one of them all behind this effort, because I still say this. They didn't have all the great talent that's been back to this team. So I still say we overlooked the first few championships, how great some of these ball players were on this basketball team. The Portland series, the Hanleys, and all these guys coming in, doing their job, the Craig Hodges, the Paxtons. There's a big difference in this basketball team. That's why I give this basketball team the gut check trophy of the world, because they pulled it through.
The gut check trophy of the world. He is, of course, the franchise joining the Chicago Bulls back in 1984 after panning Olympic gold. Here is Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Had a crowd that was really energetic and kept them motivated, and you know, we lost our opportunities to win it at home, and we came here. I mean, at first, you know, as soon as the games ended in Chicago, there was some dim feelings and some negative thoughts, you know, and as time went past, I think everybody realized that, you know, if we want that sixth title, we have to go through Utah to get it, you know, and we have to go out there and win it out there. So, I mean, you know, I think those negative thoughts erased very quickly, as, you know, and it's a great day for everybody, I think.
Michael, few people in the world face retirement with so many others caring about the decision that he makes. You mean so much to so many people, to the league, to the other players, to the networks, even to the economy. How do you make the right decision for Michael Jordan, the human being, independent of all of the other people and forces that are tugging on him?
You know, that's a gut feeling. You know, it's just a feeling that I have. You know, when I walked away the first time, it was a feeling. It wasn't something someone told me. When I came back, it was a feeling. You know, if and when that time comes where I got to walk away, I hope that because I walked away, no one will look at me any less. You know, and sure, the economy may take a different turn, but I would advise you to invest wisely. And you know, my life has to continue. You know, hopefully I'll put enough memories out there for everybody to at least have some thoughts about what Michael Jordan did in his 13 years or 14 years or whatever it takes, and put some comparisons up there for kids to follow and compare themselves and reach, you know, and that's a part of the challenge. And, you know, I have another life, and I know I have to get to it, you know, at some point in time, and hopefully the fans and the people understand that.
Michael, you said last week that this was the toughest year for Coach Jackson as a coach. What about you as a player?
It was tough. You know, it was tough in the sense that I was more competitive than I ever was because I wanted to win more than I ever did, you know, because of some of the bumps in the road, you know, Scotty being out. You know, Dennis, you know, had to step up, and every now and then we had to, you know, deal with Dennis and deal with the different types of expectations, you know, some of the, you know, criticism about our team and the lifestyle that we live, and you know, it just takes its toll on an individual, you know, and sure, we just have to keep looking at the bigger picture, you know, which is tonight is the biggest picture we could think of, and sure, sometimes the pictures don't look so clearly, but if you keep moving in the right direction, it's going to clear itself up, and tonight is very, very clear.
Michael, you just won your 6th championship with Scotty and Coach Jackson. As a man who lives as a player who lives with challenges, how much is a challenge is it for you to win one without them?
Pretty sure it's a major challenge, you know. But the question is, do I want to do that or not? You know, and that's the things that has to be debated over the summer.
Michael, how frustrating it is, or at least annoying, to have to talk that much about your future tonight?
Say that again?
How frustrating, or at least annoying, is it to have to talk that much about your future and the future of the team tonight?
It's not annoying. I mean, most people have been waiting for that, and you know, my answer is, I mean, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and tonight is a lot of sympathetic feelings about, you know, this team and where we want it to go. But as time, you know, it gets involved, I mean, some of the feelings may change. You never know. But I think that's the purpose of waiting to the end of the summer, or maybe in the summer, and making final decisions.
Michael, the other night, you seemed so intrigued by the thought of, you know, dropping the last 3 and possibly walking away. The fact that you played such a great last minute and hit a game-winning shot, title-winning shot, is that going to, you know, do you like the idea of going out that way?
Yes. If that's the case, yes. I mean, when I got that rebound, I mean, my thoughts are very positive, you know, and the crowd gets quiet. The moment starts to become the moment, you know, for me, you know, and that's what we've been, that's part of that Zen Buddhism stuff, you know, the moment, once you get in the moment, you know when you're there, things start to move slowly, you start to see the court very well, you start reading what the defenses are trying to do. And I saw that moment. And, you know, when I saw the moment, the opportunity to take advantage of it, when Russell reached, and I took advantage of that moment. And I never doubted myself. I never doubted the whole game. We were hanging too close. You know, it was a 3-point game, 4-point game, 5-point game. You know, Scottie Pippen's hurt. Dennis and everybody's in foul trouble. And they never really burst out and left us standing, you know. And, you know, we kept hanging in there. And I knew that we were going to have an opportunity to win this game, and I just wanted to be able to do that. And from an offensive standpoint, sure, you look at my rebounds, I only had maybe 2 or 3 rebounds, and I told Phil that, you know, I know I'm going to have to play a lot of minutes, I have to conserve energy somewhere, and unfortunately I had to be on the rebounding edge, and you know, but the offense, I had to step forward.
Okay, last question for Michael.
Michael, after John hit that three-pointer, you scored the last 4 points. You actually scored the last 8, but you scored the last 4 on baskets. Talk about those last 2 baskets, your layup and then the jumper. And did that jumper remind you of last year, Game 1 with Brian Garden? If he reached, you went.
It was in a very similar situation. The play before that was, with Karl Malone. We've been trying to double team. And Hornacek was trying to, I guess, pick Karl Malone, and he never really cleared, which gave me an opportunity to go back. And Karl never saw me coming, and I was able to knock the ball away. The play before that was when Phil called, an isolation play for me, to take it to the hole and make him foul me or get an easy basket, which is what I did. But when I got the ball, I looked up and I saw 18.5 seconds left, and I felt like we couldn't call a timeout because it gave defenses an opportunity to set up, and it was a do-or-die situation. So I let the time tick to where I felt like I had the court right where I wanted to, and Stockton was on the right-hand side with Steve Kerr. I knew he couldn't gamble because Steve has killed him before. So, and as soon as Russell reached, he gave me a clear lane, which, I made my initial drive, and, he bid on it, and I stopped, pulled up, and I had an easy jump shot. Great look, and, it went in. And once it went in, I knew from that point on we've been hanging around long enough. This is a game-winning basket. Now it's just a matter of playing solid defense. And our defense has held us strong all series. And we would never be in this scenario without our defense. So all we had to do was play defense for 5.8 minutes, 5.8 seconds, and I knew we can do that.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
That's my
Next
dog
up, we'll have Scottie Pippen and Ron Harper.
Well, there's the man of the hour, Michael Jordan. He has been the rock and the center of this team all through these 6 championship runs. That's right, 6 now. We're inside the Bulls locker room. Michael Jordan, 45 points. Tony Kukoc has also been a key during this series. Let's jump in here and try to get Tony live.
Any feelings towards the team, towards everything that happened? For yourself? For myself, it's just a great. It's a great thing, and we should celebrate this thing as much as we can, and the time is going to come, and time is going to show us what's going to happen next.
What a Tony, with everything
by Michael embracing Jordan at the end of the game and crying, and this
and playing, really fantastic under the circumstances.
I expect.
I think, the Jazz gave me the easy shot that really worked against me at the start of the game. I got that dunk, and from that point on, I just started to feel spasms in my back as I run every time I put my right leg down, and I just tried to gut it out and was able to get 6 or 7 minutes in the first half, and as I told Phil to take me out the game, it was just very difficult for me. I tried to run in and back and do whatever I could, and I just decided at that point that I would just take as much treatment as I could and try to go out and do what I could the next 24 minutes.
With Scotty down for 30-some-odd games, and some bad feelings back and forth, and I know moments like this tend to erase some of that stuff.
There's no bad feeling. I'm so happy, and the fans in Chicago are the greatest sports fans in the world. I'm happy for them and our families and these players, and I'm on top of the world right now, and it's a great feeling. And to the fans back home, celebrate, but celebrate safe. And to my wife and my kids, I'll be home tomorrow morning, about 3 or 4 in the morning or something like that, but we'll be home.
We didn't want to postpone that any longer than we had to.
We're getting out of here quick and going home.
Now, what do you get to do for the next few days once the rally's over with?
Well, of course, we got a lot of things, but I just want to celebrate tonight and just have fun, and that airplane going home is going to be a great airplane.
Enjoy it, Jerry. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Terrific job.
Okay, Scottie Pippen at the podium. Let's go right to Scottie. See what he has to say.
Opportunity to come out and give my best 24 minutes, which didn't look that great, especially in my eye, but it was important for me to just try to be on the court and make my presence known and try to be effective any way possible. I think I have great knowledge of the game and knowing what I could do and a lot of things that I could not do out there, but I don't reflect on those things. I just try to go out and play for my teammates and give the best performance that I can and try to come away to win. I didn't want to be looking at a Game 7 knowing that I'm not 100% and we're pretty much having our backs against the wall playing on their court.
Scotty, last year Michael sat at the podium and talked about how important it was to bring everyone back for one more year. Even with what you said at different times during the season, wouldn't you like to do one more year and forget rebuilding, maybe sign a one-year deal? Is that a possibility?
I'm not thinking about that right now. give me a couple days and I'll give you an answer. But right now I just want to enjoy this moment and, you know, get myself feeling good again physically. I have to just sit back and enjoy this moment, and, you know, I'll just see what's going to happen. You know, anything is possible.
Next question.
Scotty, you know Michael as well as anybody, certainly as a competitor, and as he considers his future, at some point his physical skills will decline. We know that it has to happen.
They haven't declined yet, so I can't agree with that.
Do you think at some point he could accept playing without being the most dominant player in the sport?
No. No, not at all. I mean, Michael has probably got another 5 years left on his career. I mean, even before we can even see a decline in it. I mean, because he has so much knowledge of the game. There's other things that, you know, he knows that is waiting in his game that he can always pull out. And right now we're seeing him probably at the top of his game because he used so much knowledge as well as the physical skills that he has when he's out on the court.
Scotty, I know you don't want to talk about your future particularly, but if this was the end of this particular Bulls group...
Who's talking?
Right here. If this is the end of this group of Bulls being together, how great a run was it, in your opinion?
Wonderful. Tremendously. I mean, it's unforgettable. I mean, it's something that I'll be able to look back and cherish for the rest of my life, you know, to be able to win 6 titles in the last 8 years. It's been a great run for us. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of celebrations, and I can never see any other team in the future being as dominant as this ball club has been. And, you know, you hate to see it come to an end, and you don't want to see it come to an end. I mean, we feel like that we're dominant, even though we weren't 100% healthy, especially myself going in these last couple games. But it's been a lot of fun, and that's part of winning, is being able to have the courage and desire to go out and do whatever you can to bring your team to the top.
Okay, we are taking questions for both players.
Yeah, don't y'all forget.
No. Let him go
Don't y'all forget Ron.
He's dominating the ball anyway, so let him go ahead.
For Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, judging by the press conferences, was almost hilarious after the 2 games you lost. How much of a factor was it with his leadership helping you getting by those defeats?
Well, you know, here's a guy that does a lot for our basketball team, and we're out here that part there early during this ball game. He was the guy who was holding us there, and he came in during halftime, and he felt that we still had this basketball game, and the main thing that he said was for us to go out there and to give him some help. And once his sidekick came back, it was just one game that we hung in there, and we had a very good chance of. And it was a very great ball game, and our hat goes off to him, to the guys on the basketball team. It was a very great win for our team.
Do you feel like with this series in particular that you're finally getting the recognition you deserve?
I don't care about that. You know, when I first came in this league, everybody said he can shoot the ball and do this last and do this slam dunk. All them things don't mean anything. This is my 3rd championship, and if I would have to change my game again, I would probably change it again, I think.
Scotty, over here. Scotty.
Yeah.
What exactly was your injury, and how did it happen?
Took too many charges from Karl Malone.
You were Dr. Club too long.
I mean, I took a lot of hard falls, you know, not just in this series, but this is something that's probably going back even far as the Indiana series. You know, just getting thrown to the floor, and I had a very sore back and took a couple falls in the last game that really threw me off, and I just lost a lot of my mechanics for it, moving out on the court and being aggressive and coming over and attacking, and I felt like that was something that affected us in Game 5, that I didn't have the energy, the mobility to be aggressive from a defense standpoint, and as well as offense. I settled for a lot of jumpers, 0 for 7 from the three-point line, 2 for 16 from the game. Those things really worked against me, and defensively, I wasn't the same player. You know, even looking back at a lot of the tape of that game, they were saying how Utah had countered and were able to take advantage of me being able to come over and double team, and it was pretty much only because I wasn't physically mobile enough to get up and move. But as a result, we were able to counter and we came away with a win.
Ron, if this team isn't back intact, how do you see your role changing next season? How good do you think this team can be?
I actually don't know. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna think about what if and what's going to happen to this basketball team. I'm gonna just enjoy these next few days, this offseason. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to wait to see what happens to my best friend on this team, and hope whatever happens for him, because you know he been a great teammate, and he was the one who called me to be here. And if he want to be a Chicago Bull to be on this team again, it's up to him. To my man Scotty. And if you don't want to be a Bull, I'm going to be cheering for him anyway.
Okay, last question.
Okay, Ron, you had great defense on Stockton this game and throughout the series. Talk about the three-pointer that he made and the three-pointer that he didn't make and that process.
Well, you understand. All the time, man. Everything goes through his hands. And last year, I didn't have fun. This year, I for sure said that I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna do the things that I know that I can do. I use my size on him, and I just have fun out there. And the shot that he made was a very, very tough shot. And the last shot that he didn't make, I was relieved, put it that way. See y'all.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right. A lot was said tonight between the two of them.
There sure was.
Yeah.
And Mark Giangreco, there he is. He's been talking to some of the Bulls players as they made their way from the podium back to the locker room. Mark, what do you have for us?
That is right, Jim. Boy, Ron Harper making the rounds, huh? I'll tell you, back in here in the inner locker room, everybody partying with their families, and oh, I just got a nice, sweet one in the back. But, you know, talking earlier with Steve Kerr, he said all this talk about bringing everybody back, he doesn't care. He's full. He's just happy to have been around for the ride. Here's Steve.
Scotty hurt and Ron's sick. You throw the chalkboard out of the way and go, Mike, you got to do it.
Well, and let's give credit to Tony in the first half, too, because he and Michael carried us offensively in the first half and kept us close, and it was amazing that we were only down 4. They shot like 60% in the first half. So just staying close was a tribute to those two guys, and then Scotty really battled in the second half. And
I'm sorry, you're awful good at this. Put it in perspective. Where does this rank with the rest?
This is best.
Yeah?
It's the best one because it's the most improbable, the most difficult, and maybe the last. So it's the sweetest.
Well, can't we remove that last dance label now because Jerry Reinsdorf, I'm sure everybody's going to hold him to he'd be inclined to bring everybody back. I guess that includes you too, right?
I hope so. If they bring everybody back, I hope I would be included. I've had a great time. You know, but really, all I want to say is that whatever happens, I'm thrilled to have been a part of this. I've been here 5 years. It's been 5 of the best years of my life. If they break it up, I don't mind. That's their prerogative, and I'm happy they brought me in the first place. So, you know, I don't hold any grudges. I don't care. I'm thrilled that I was a part of this.
You're full is what you're saying.
That's right.
Thank you, Steve. Congratulations. All right, congratulations to Steve Kerr. Everybody getting full right now. Ron Harper walking in with the 6th trophy. Great looking piece of hardware right there. Ron, is that heavier than the first 5? Huh? Is that heavier than the first 5?
This is tremendously great. I'm happy to carry this one. I was proud last year to carry that one, but this one here will go down in the history book as a great season for our basketball team.
How were you designated to carry this?
I stole it. See, I played great defense. I don't even steal the basketball. I stole the World Championship trophy.
Is this going to be on the hood of your car? Are you stealing this?
No,
out of the building?
This is going to be in my house. This is not going on the hood of no car. This is going to be in my house. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to give it to my teammates. We're going to pass it around on our airplane home. There's going to be a lot of enjoyment and great fun.
All right, Ronnie, thank you very much. Earlier, we were talking with Carmen Electra here in the locker room partying, and Jim Rose talked with her boyfriend just a few minutes ago. Coming back here?
Well, I think that the referees in the league would expect us to roll over and die tonight, have a 7 games so they can make that extra $30 million. But, you know, thank God we got the players in this team that believe in this, what's going on.
You've gone to Vegas in your lifetime. What are the odds of bringing everybody back next year? In reality, what do you think the reality is going to be? What are the odds?
I don't know. It's probably like a 50-50 right now. I mean, I couldn't tell you. You know, I would love to see everybody get back, but, you know, it's just...
You want to go through this again?
I would love to go through it again.
Dennis, what does this 6th championship in particular mean to you? This is your 4th championship as a professional basketball player. 5. Excuse me. Thank you for correcting my arithmetic.
Don't lie me my props, man. Come on. I think it means more to me.
I actually felt like Willis Reed. Every time I had to run up and down the court, it was just a grimace on my face of the pain. But, you know, I just tried to stick with it. And, you know, Mike, I had a great game. So I knew if I could just stay out there and get the ball to him, we had a good chance.
We're with Scottie Pippen. Scottie, now that you're celebrating, you're feeling good, you're coming back next year, right?
I answer that in a couple of days.
Scottie?
Maybe at Grant Park.
All right. He's got a little something in store for the fans in Chicago, possibly making his announcement about his future as early as the Grant Park celebration. We'll be back with much more in a minute. Back to Jim and Cheryl.
All right, Mark, of course, Street Fest in the park on Tuesday.
Right. The weather should do well.
We hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sunny, a little cloudy, and now we're going to go back to...
For the Bulls, he didn't score 30 points like he did in the last game, but he did score in double figures and was a big scorer tonight for the Bulls.
Let's check in with Tim Weigel now. Who have you got, Tim?
Linda, we're in the locker room with Randy Brown. Grew up in Chicago. Local guy makes good. Another world championship ring. You got a cigar working, but you haven't lit it up yet, Randy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm afraid of these things. I'm afraid what'll happen in the morning when I wake up. So I'll put it on hold for now.
All right, so it's just a prop.
It's just a prop right now. You know, just to show that I'm a champion again. So just to let you guys know I have one.
Well, Randy, you have what now? Three rings?
My third one. I think this is the best.
Well, it's certainly amazing the way it all panned out. But, you know, for you personally, obviously a bittersweet experience. For some reason, you got in Phil's doghouse. We didn't see you out there. You weren't playing. So you got to have kind of some torn emotions about the way this thing all fell down.
Not really. You know, the important thing that for myself, I just had to stay ready and stay focused and just cheer the rest of the guys on no matter what the situation was for myself. I was just happy for the guys. Get the guys strength to go out there and play hard and make us champions. So whatever happened after that is all over.
Well, on the bright side is Phil's going to be leaving. And you're staying. You got a contract for, what, 2 more years?
Well, yeah, I'm here for 2 more years, and you never know what's going to happen with this team.
You don't in this business, do you? I mean, you don't know if Michael's coming back. You don't know if Dennis is coming back. Scotty, who knows? I mean, but except you know that you're coming back.
I know myself, Ron Harper, and Tony Kukoc will be back. Other than that, I don't know what's going on, but we just have to wait throughout the summer and see what happens. Hopefully everybody will come back and we can do this thing again.
Get up here. We got to get with Scott Burrell, who's going to join in on the party here. Scott, we're just talking to Randy. I mean, he knows the Chicago scene. This is your first. This is his third. I mean, how's this rank in the Scott Burrell pantheon of thrills?
This is the biggest thrill I've ever had. You know, I'm known as a champion now, and I'm glad to be part of this great team.
That's true, Randy. They'll never take that away from either one of you guys or any of you guys. You are the world champions, although a lot of people are going to say...
From him. They can take it one time. He still got 2 more attempts.
Well, how about it? I mean, you know, this is your first year watching Michael Jordan. I mean, this must be a dizzying experience to see what this man can accomplish.
It's not my 5th year watching him, or 4th year watching him, but I'm glad to be on the same team as him for the first time. And it's amazing what he can do and how hard he works and how much he deserves this championship.
Well, that's true. I mean, Randy, you've been with him for a while now. I mean, you ever go tired of being a part of this whole thing? I mean, can you see it ever ending?
Well, hopefully not. This is my 7th year in the NBA, and I don't think I've got tired of watching Michael and Scotty, those guys perform. And either watching us win, I think I'll never get tired of that. I pray to God it'll never end, but someday it has to end.
No! Wait, what do you think, man? You're coming back next year, right?
No, I'm not back. He's back. He's one of the three that are coming back.
So you're still you're a free agent?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Man, that's kind of scary, huh? I mean, it's nice. You're a world champion. There you go. Johnny
Legs stays one. Legs stays one.
Okay, I knew Johnny would get it.
Legs. He stays one.
Big back. This jacket is shot. All right, Bill Wennington. I got wet. Are you happy?
Don't look wet enough. Where are the showers? How long is that court? Let's go in the showers. Go to the showers. Let's take him to the showers.
Not all the way, man. Come on, come on. Okay, be careful. Be careful. Come on, come on. No, I got please. Come on, man. Come on, man. I knew you were going to get me, Jack. Oh, no. Hey, man, I got my wallet in here. Look out. It's not over. Back to you in the studio.
Oh, Tim, we thought we'd see you in there.
We're out of danger now.
Well, I don't know. He's right beside you.
He could go off at any minute.
Still put G. Gonna help the team out a little bit.
Yeah, we got a little foul trouble. He put me in there, and it was nice to go out there. I had one jumper.
That was sweet. That was great. The first time you get a touch, bam.
Well, I got to shoot. I should have shot the second time. I got a touch too. Only I got a traveling call after. So
get over here to Scotty, man.
back.
We're still on with Bill.
Highlight of the post game.
Man, we want you, not Scotty.
I almost threw Tim Wagle in the shower. Almost. Almost. He's too little and he's squirmy.
I'm a former running back.
You've been here for the second repeat. How does it feel? And deep down in your heart, what is going on inside right now with all the talk of the breakup and the last dance and everything?
You know, it's really difficult to think about, you know, what's going to happen now. It's just really hard. It's sad when you really think about it, when you get down to it, because we have such great relationships with all the guys on the team, with the coaches, and I mean, we've really achieved a lot. I think we've achieved a lot more in the past 3 or 6 years that teams may never do again. And starting off with the 72-10 year that I was here for, and then the 2 years following, and the 2 years here in Utah. It's just been outstanding.
Well, Bill, that's the thing. I mean, you've been a part of it now, and you've kind of anticipated we're reaching this point, and now, bang, it's like you've reached the wall, and it is kind of frightening, isn't it?
It's very scary, and it's very sad when you think about it. And it's something I really don't want to think about right now.
I don't blame you.
It bothers me, and you know, it's hard when you think that, you know, you got great friends on this team and guys I've been with for 5 years, and next year it could all be different.
You're a young man. You've had some amazing memories already, a lifetime worth of memories in this business. I mean, as you look down the road, I mean, it's probably going to pinch yourself every once in a while and say, my God, I played with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
But I got it all on video, baby. Look, Mom, I'm in the locker room.
Yeah, they'll never be able to question your story.
Oh, I know. I'll be here. I'm here, and it's just been great.
Yes, it has. And you have too, pal. I'm glad you missed me.
I miss you. And you know, look at his jacket. Look at it. He's actually got batteries back here.
I do, as a matter of fact, right here. See, here are the batteries. Here's the batteries.
Look, if I pull the plug.
No, that's my connection to the world here. That's my umbilical cord. Thanks, Bill. Congratulations. It's been great being with you. Thank you. All right, Jay, if you want to hold with me a minute, and Linda, let's kind of go across the way here. We have Tony Kukoc, if we could get my buddy Ken out of the way here.
Hey, Tim?
Yes, Linda?
You need those battery packs to light up your jackets, don't you?
Well, that's what it's for, Linda. But, you know, I think it's working, too. I was afraid to get him wet in the shower. Here's Tony.
But I said so many.
I love you, but I'm going. We're flying back to Chicago tonight.
Oh, wherever he wants to right about now. He worked pretty hard.
Michael Jordan.
He should enjoy the
Always got time for the media.
He's given us so
Always
many
cordial,
highlights,
even in
too.
a bum rush.
And Mark's right in the thick of things there.
He's absolutely something, isn't he? I'll tell you.
Mark's been grilling everyone about what about next year, right, Mark?
Well, what do you want me to say, huh? We're so greedy, we can't enjoy the moment. I can't with my producer, Larry Snyder.
A lot of love from his producer there.
Is it wrong for one man to kiss another man? No.
You got to give some love to each other, see? You've got to like that, Mark.
And just before Michael came out, His sidekick, Scottie Pippen, who gave a valiant performance, talked with us right here in this very same hallway. A valiant effort. I mean, you knew you couldn't score, but you did everything else.
Yeah, I just tried to make my presence be a little bit of a factor right there. I realized I wasn't mobile enough to move. The loose balls that I was able to get to, was kind of a struggle for me, but I just tried to hang in there. I felt like that, my presence out on the court was more important than being laying back in the locker room.
You think you'd go down like Willis Reed coming back?
I actually felt like Willis Reed. Every time I had to run up and down the court, it was just a grimace on my face of the pain, but, I just tried to stick with it, and, Michael had a great game, so I knew if I could just stay out there and get the ball to him, we had a good chance.
We're with Scottie Pippen. Scottie, now that you're celebrating, you're feeling good, you're coming back next year, right?
I answer that in a couple of days.
Scottie?
Maybe at Grand Park.
All right. He's got a little something in store for the fans in Chicago, possibly making his announcement about his future.
Confidence in that game. He was ready to play it all the way through.
Right. I'm sure you've been asked this in the news conference already, but...
No, I don't know what I'm going to
do. Phil, is it more relief than ecstasy?
Oh, no, it's ecstasy. It's ecstasy.
But June, aren't you in ecstasy?
Ask him a question.
Okay, go ahead and ask him.
Are you leaving?
Leaving? I'm going to Chicago right now. I'm on an airplane.
Come on, we're partying all night.
See you at the airport then. Not if we can't say goodbye.
All right.
Ready to go.
Phil Jackson with a little kiss for June as I guess they're going their separate ways here. Phil getting on the charter with the rest of the team, and they're heading back to Chicago as soon as possible. But we enjoyed bringing you that little warm moment right there.
It shows you that the wives need a scorecard, too, in terms of, okay, where is my husband going next now that they've won?
Yeah, right. And when am I allowed to talk to him after 15 other reporters are in front of me?
We thought she was asking, are you coming back next year, Phil?
Because, I think she asked that earlier. Just want to know if she should leave the door open for him. Are you leaving right now?
We're leaving. We're gone. We're on our way home.
What's the party going to be like on the plane?
Oh, we're going to have fun.
Phil Jackson enjoying one of the many cigars being lit around here. I hope we don't have a... You think we're violating the fire code in this place right now? Yeah, I would say so.
Well, Mark, Jerry Reinsdorf at halftime skipped over all the questions regarding Phil Jackson when asked if he would return, if he wanted him to return. It's kind of interesting.
Well, Jerry's very good at skipping over a lot of questions. He's never given us a direct answer in the past 3 or 4 years. He's got to take a wait-and-see attitude right now. Phil has gone on record as saying wild horses couldn't drag me away. But a lot of wild horses in this locker room tonight, and I think when all is said and done, Phil will reconsider. Whether he actually comes back or not remains to be seen, but I think he definitely will reconsider after this. But they do have to be careful and not let the euphoria of the moment cloud their judgment. It's going to come down to Phil has said, what do I want to do with my life as a person? I've done it all as a coach. And some of the players are saying, hey, we need to go elsewhere. We've had enough. So we'll see what happens.
Perhaps June, his wife, showed us some indication of maybe she wants them all to herself next year. Maybe she doesn't want to share them with Chicago fans and the rest of the world. Maybe he can come home and hang out for a while.
We'll have to see. Let's go to Jim Rose right now, though. Jim?
We're live with Scottie Pippen in the locker room, and, as I was talking to you earlier, this could be a bittersweet moment for you because this may have been the last time you wear this number 33.
Well, I guess I'm going to just have to wear them back in Chicago. But, it's been great. I've had a great career here in Chicago, playing for Phil, playing alongside Michael. It's been a lot of fun. And, a lot of things have been made about my future right now. And I'm going to just have to sit back and, let this soak in and decide, what I'm going to do over the next few days.
Scottie, I've known you since you came here in 1987 as a young man out of Central Arkansas. And you've had a career that has just gone up and up and up. And, when you think of Scottie Pippen, you only think of him in a Chicago Bulls uniform. And by July 1st, that may not be a possibility anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the only way I've always looked at it and wanted to look at it. But, due through some things that has just not fell in the right direction and fell in the right places that, I may have the opportunity to go somewhere else. I'm not counting out Chicago right now, but I will say that, there is a possibility that I may be back.
Michael Jordan was spectacular tonight. You were, too, because you came in. You should have been in the hospital tonight with the back the way it was. how bad did it hurt and how bad did it affect you?
It affected me a lot, you know, especially the start of the game. I got a dunk, and when I came down, the pounding just sort of started spasming every time I ran down the court. But, you know, I tried to stay in there and was able to hang for about the first 6 or 7 minutes. And I came in and got some treatment and wanted to go back out for the second quarter, but I wasn't able to get myself going. And I just told Chip to just load me up with some treatment and massages from the massage therapist. And, you know, I just gutted it out and felt like that I could go out and just give them my best the next 24 minutes. So I thought that, you know, this was the game that we could get.
Scotty, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, excuse me, I would be remiss if I, excuse me, I was here first. I would be remiss if I did not ask you, do you have any animosity toward the two Jerrys in trying to work out a deal with them and come back?
Not at this time. I mean, I'm happy, you know, I'm happy that the season's over. I'm happy that we're able to clear things up. And, you know, I've been able to go out and play without dealing with the two Jerrys all season. And, you know, maybe there is another season there for me. But, you know, as I said, I'm going to sit back and let this championship and this win and celebration and everything soak in. And I'll make a decision.
It has to be more than one season, though, right? Before the poor etiquette continues.
Well, I feel like that it needs to be at least more than one season. I mean, I have to look more for my future.
Well, I mean, you've got to play at least 3-4 more years in this league, right?
Hopefully. Well, but the way I feel today, maybe one more year, maybe too many.
Hey, listen, you know, when you look ahead, Scotty, you know, obviously you and Michael have got to be together, though, right?
Well, I would love to say yes, and, you know, I would love for that.
Can you imagine playing in the league without Michael? It's all your career. You and Michael have been the team.
No, I mean, as many teams as he's disappointed, I don't want to be on the disappointing side, but, you know, I've enjoyed my career with Michael, and I feel like that, you know, I perform much.
His victorious efforts or his gallant efforts being heard, and Michael hitting the incredible game-winning shot. The Jazz could not put you away. That was the key. They could not get a lead on you.
Yeah, we I don't even know what happened, mate. It was all kind of a rush. I do know that Michael played unbelievably well and hit all the shots that counted, so that's why I call him Mike.
What are you going to do now?
Well, party till dawn. All right.
All right, Luke's out all night, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, Mike. Thanks, Mark.
All right, Mike.
Party till dawn.
So I guess some of them said they were getting on the plane, but I guess they'll party on the plane all the way.
That's right.
The friendly
Phil Jackson
skies.
said we're going to have a good time, and there's no doubt about it. I'm sure they're going to. They've worked hard.
They deserve it.
This goes back 8 years that many of these folks have been together.
Yeah.
When you think about what they've accomplished, they have a right to celebrate.
And speaking of celebrations, our own Alan Krzyzewski's been among some of the celebrations tonight. Alan, what's going on still at the United Center at this late hour?
Well, I'll tell you what, Cheryl and Jim, the celebration here, I think, has moved out to the streets, moved out to the people's homes, back to their living rooms, whatever the case might be, so they can enjoy themselves. There's a lot of confetti, though, that's still here that they still need to sweep up, and as you can see, they're actually beginning to take up the floor right now. You know, the people who came here, they may have watched the Bulls up on the big Jumbotrons, but for the thousands of fans here, they were courtside with the Bulls. You know, the biggest win ever for them. And the seats that went for thousands of bucks on Friday night were $10 tonight, a family night really here at the UC. But there wasn't a whole lot of sitting going on here at the United Center, certainly not during those last seconds when Michael Jordan brought it back home for the Bulls. Yeah, while the Delta Center may have been uncharacteristically quiet, the United Center went wild to the rafters. This was the night they've waited for, and while it couldn't come soon enough, there was no doubt among the diehard fans that it would come tonight. The nail-biting's over. The celebration of 6 is here.
Never doubted the Bulls. Number one. Never doubted it. Never. Mike will always be the best. And don't forget it. Number one, baby. Stockton is so good in that shot. I hoped it would go in. We need the other Bulls back next year for a repeat.
Yeah, there's just no question. They absolutely felt they were at the game. And this was the scene here at the United Center tonight. The 5 previous championship trophies paraded around for the fans to see. And, of course, we're going to be adding to that come Tuesday. It's just going to be unbelievable for the rally that's coming up in Grant Park. And people are ready for it. There's just no question about it. Kenny Mack, in fact, is standing here with me. Look what he's done. He's there. He's got the Bulls number 6. Kenny you were telling me, Kenny, that this is your first time actually in the UC. What was it like for you to experience this tonight?
It was an experience I would never forget. It was very successful, and I want to congratulate the Bulls on number 6, and hopefully they'll be going for 7. and also the fact that it was only $10 because I wouldn't have been able to afford a ticket.
Yeah, well, it was $10. That's true. It was a lot cheaper than what's Friday night for thousands of bucks here. All right, Kenny, thanks very much. It was an incredible night for those who gathered here this evening, and of course, they're looking forward to the big rally that's going to be coming up later on this week. Live at the United Center, Alan Krzyzewski, ABC 7 News. Jim, Cheryl, back to you.
Good way for people to take in the game and be together with other fans when the team's on the road. Let's go back out to Utah now. Thanks, Alan. JR out at Utah for us. Hey, JR.
Hi, Jim. How are you? A little bit calmer right here. Judd Bushler is sitting here. He's got a bottle of champagne in one hand and a big, is that a Cohiba?
I don't smoke
what
cigars.
is that
I smoke
thing?
cigars once a year.
Let's see. They gave me one.
What about the future getting his shirt dry cleaned?
Well, that's fine. We'll get that taken care of. I got one back in the room that I can wear on the airplane, and maybe we'll do a little dance on the airplane or whatever. So
well, let us know when you're going to dance. I want to see that.
Okay. Well, they got a tape of me dancing on one of the flights back or in a bus.
Live right now.
Yeah.
How about it?
But this is tremendous.
All right, Jerry.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for you keep asking.
Jerry, we're not going to ask you that inevitable question, but what are you going to say to these guys on the plane? Nobody. I don't know. I think it was Klein again. Pippen. Oh man, they're not going to want to talk about next year either. But what are you going to talk about on the plane?
How great this is, how sweet it is, just how sweet it is.
Are they going to give you, the fans have a tough time giving you your due, and they have. Do the players give you your due when you're together in private?
Oh yeah, I don't even, that's it's a great unit, and it's a great group of people, and that's all we care about. It's a tremendous group of people. I got champagne in my eyes, and that ain't a bad feeling. But we're just going to have fun tonight on the airplane.
Jerry, you talk about tomorrow, but what about
Somebody give me a towel, please.
Get him another towel.
What's this team proven over the years?
Pardon me?
What's this team proven over the years?
Please give me a towel. I can't see.
There you go.
Champagne got right in my eyes.
So just, what is this, man? You putting this together 6 times. What does it say about this organization and the team?
I think what it says is that I work for the best owner in sports, and he lets us do what we have to do, and we've got great staff, and we've got great coaches and great scouts, and our medical staff proved it again today. They're the best. Yeah. And Al Vermeil and our physical therapist, Brigitte, did a tremendous job with Scotty at halftime. All those extra people that are so important to what we do and help us win basketball games. And when you're in my position, you let your people do the job and you sit back and enjoy it. And we got very special people in this organization. It was great that Karen Stack hugged me and I hugged her, and it's just so many people in this organization. Been here so long.
I hear you're going over to fix the White Sox now. Is that right?
I'm going to. I'm not. Another bullshit rumor.
Jerry, could you talk? All right, Jerry Krause, soaked, drenched, but ecstatic.
Competitive and so driven, is certainly not ready to hang it up yet.
I couldn't agree with you more, Linda. He's done so well. He's been so phenomenal. This year being a complete topper, and there's no way, as well-conditioned as he is, Michael Jordan, the greatest conditioned athlete in the world, perhaps, there's no way he couldn't play a year, 2, 3, I would say maybe 3 years tops, but he could certainly play at the top of his game for quite a while yet, make a ton of money, provide plenty of thrills, and at this point, it just does not compute for Michael Jordan to not come back. Although, as we've said several times with David Falk and Todd Musburger and some of the players, how do you top this one? But last year, Linda and Jay, we said, how's he going to top that 39-point performance when he had the flu? He always thinks of something or manages to make something happen that just makes us shake our heads.
He creates these incredible stories season after season, and I think I remember him last season at this time saying, this was the toughest one. He said that again tonight. This was the toughest one.
And if he wins next year, that will be the toughest one, because the longer you go, the harder you have to work to get it, and that's really the challenge that he relishes.
Tim, we're going to listen to MJ talking about how this ring and this championship compares to the other one.
Cool. In comparing this feeling you have now with the other 5, is this feeling at all a little more bittersweet in knowing that it might be the end of a very special era?
Well, I think it's bittersweet in the sense that it was the toughest route, the toughest challenge that we've had in the 6 championships that we've won. And some people's eyes, no one expected us to fulfill this, and that was part of the challenge. And then the 5 before that, everybody predicted us in some respects, and it was a hands-down situation. Here it wasn't, and we had to do it against a team that, played well all season long, played at home, had a crowd that was really energetic and kept them motivated, and we lost our opportunity to win it at home, and we came here. I mean, at first, as soon as the games ended in Chicago, there was some dim feelings and some negative thoughts, and as time went past, I think everybody realized that, if we want that sixth title, we have to go through Utah to get it.
Michael Jordan comparing this victory to the last 5, the previous 5.
Just as sweet, perhaps even sweeter. Tim Weigel still in the locker room in Salt Lake City. He's with Steve Kerr now. Tim.
Yes, I am, Jay. We've moved over to the door, and here is Steve Kerr, who's the happiest man. You're like Lou Gehrig tonight.
I'm the happiest man alive. You're right.
Well, actually, you have some competition in this room, though, Steve. There's some awfully happy people.
Happy guys. A lot of happy guys.
We've been discussing some bittersweet happiness because that thought of the future kind of like takes a little. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, good.
It's not bittersweet at all. I mean, if this was my last Bulls game, then I've had the greatest 5-year run that I can imagine. And I don't deserve all this. This is amazing. And if we're not back, then that's okay. I'm just happy to have been a part of all of it.
Well, of course, you realize it will take a lot to get everybody back, but it would seem silly not to after the success you've enjoyed this year.
Give me a few days, all right? I'm not going to talk about next year.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. How about the present? How about the moment? And you've seen it all. I mean, no, not at all, but you've seen amazing things with Michael Jordan. When you watch that whole thing unfold in front of you tonight, the steal, when the basket went down, I mean, did you say to yourself, oh, my God, he's done it again?
I didn't say that until the shot went in with 5 seconds left. Then I thought, oh, my God, this guy's ridiculous. And thank God he's on my team.
Oh, can you fathom that? I mean, you're played with almost a superhuman creature.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I mean, if he hadn't come back 3 years ago, then I would have kept playing for the Bulls and had a great run and really enjoyed it, but I never would have won any championships. And these moments for 3 years in a row doing this are so amazing. And, he's the main reason. So thank you, Michael.
Oh, amen, because, you play at this level, just a lifetime of thrills. You were in the NBA, you did this, you did that. And then to put along with that, 3 world championship rings, and to play alongside, you were the other guard with Michael Jordan, for God's sake. I go around telling people I played football with Calvin Hill. I think you got me beat, Steve.
For 20 police vehicles. What am I doing here? I feel like Forrest Gump, I keep showing up at all these places like, hey. But,
Exhausted Michael Jordan, an heroic moment carried off the court by his teammate Scottie Pippen. MJ to Kerr, and it was dagger time and time for championship number 5. The celebration 12 months ago at the United Center. All right, once again, as we continue right here on Fox Sports Chicago with Live in the Locker Room. Let's go back out to the...
Like the city is staying pretty calm. People are just very, very happy. Live in Jetcopter 1 over the southwest side, Bill Rogers, News Channel 5.
And as Dick Case...
We really had a great time out in Cleveland and formed some strong relationships with ourselves as players, with the coaches who've been here working hard with us, and then with MJ since he's come back.
We had a great team. We were lucky to get out of this one.
Oliver Miller plays it. Here's Johnson. Johnson gets no, he cannot get it off. Knocked away by Grant. It's all over. The Chicago Bulls
What he did in the final minute of the game is something.
Obviously, we've lost our signal. The locker room, things get unplugged.
The location at the moment, but 2 men have been taken out of the way that everyone would reconsider, and they'd all come back. Break up a happy home.
All right.
Well, break up a happy home. All right, ladies, let me ask you guys.
Malone came down the other end, thanks to winning shot. All in the last.
At least he didn't use light beer. I mean,
It's cold, too.
Or water by Lori.
Well, at least it's
Lori Weisskopf, PR.
Lori Weisskopf, PR.
Later.
Look at Lori.
You having a good time, Lori?
Lori!
Well, Lori, congratulations, Lori. You've been lifted up by Bill Wennington. All right.
Hey, Billy. What a night.
How old is this for you? You
only got about a minute left on your battery.
On my battery?
Yeah.
Okay. I got another battery. I got more film. I got everything I need, Tom. You don't want to go back to my room?
No, thanks. Billy, first of all, congratulations on another great championship. And this time, you're a participant. A lot of different feelings, obviously.
A lot of different feelings, and it was great. And I got a chance to go in there tonight, and defensively, I got a nice foul on Karl Malone. Unfortunately, he made the basket. but I did get to stick a jump shot, and I was out there for a little while. But you know, it was just a great game. It was tight all the way. It was close, and MJ came through in a clutch. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better finish.
Defense decides a championship again, and I guess there's no surprise in that, right?
Definitely not. I mean, defense is what I'm sure you talk to any coach in the world, and I'll tell you, defense wins games for you. And our defense tonight was great, and we did what we needed to do when we had.
And you guys now get a chance to go home and celebrate in Chicago in style again.
Yes, we do, and you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. And we
In Lincoln Park, Humboldt Park, and Washington Park, where they've seen trouble in the couldn't go, and Ron couldn't go. He said, "Mike, you got to do it."
I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. I had to do whatever I could to help motivate this team, and I was hoping that it wouldn't be all offense, but it had to be all offense.
Say though is let's pray for some more rain. Live at the 911 Center, Mark Safelson, News Channel 5.
Mark, thank you. He's absolutely right. The fact that it is Sunday night, we've said that a couple of times now, that does help out in terms of controlling the crowds out there. Let's go to Dick Kay out on Division Street and see what's happening out there. Dick.
Well, Warner and Allison, Elvis lives, and he's a Bulls fan. We've also seen some entrepreneurship here tonight. We had a saxophone player come along and play a few tunes, and a gentleman by his side passed a hat. And now we've been spotted. And you can see the enthusiasm for this sixth championship by the Chicago Bulls. Up until now, though, it's been rather quiet, peaceful, easy crowd. They got some of the celebration out early, and by the time we got through with the post-game show, the crowd had settled down a little bit. And now they've come to life again, and police have been keeping a watchful eye. They've had a few motorcycle cops back in the alley. They've got mounted patrols at each end of this block. The crowd is relatively small compared to what it's been in previous years, and police have been on the rooftops. And every now and then a few helmeted police will come in and make sure that they separate any of those who look like they might want to get into some fisticuffs. It's been well managed and quiet, and as you can see, enthusiastic. Live from Division Street, Dick Kay, News Channel 5.
And it appears our cameras make them a little more enthusiastic
That's right.
as they see themselves.
But truly, our hats off to the Chicago Police Department for the job that they are doing right now. They obviously can't be every place and where there might be some violence, but they certainly are doing an excellent job at this time. Truly, our hats off to them in this sixth championship.
And our live team coverage continues in just a moment, but first, Jordan's second NBA final win.
What a great price in a 90 calls. Now that's compared 1,196. That's compared to a little over 1,200 last year at the same time. So it would appear that things are not getting out of hand, but there is a bit of looting around. The 911 center got one officer needs assistance call, 55 calls of criminal damage to property, 59 calls reporting of fires, and 13 calls of looting, and another 96 of shots being fired. So there is a little bit of scattered chaos around the city. We do hope police are getting it under control.
Yeah, I can say, Steve, that we have seen one incident at Armitage and Western, reportedly shots fired, and also on Western a little bit north of Armitage, same thing. So we have seen some isolated incidents, but hopefully not too much trouble elsewhere. Back to you.
Okay, we did. Thanks, Robin. We did have an unconfirmed report that a 7-Eleven store at Archer and Central Avenue was looted during a large disturbance in that area, and I think we did see some video of that earlier.
Let's get back to the celebration if we could. I guess Michael Jordan's getting on the bus.
Yeah, they have some shots of him. Michael Jordan's sixth championship. He compared himself to the Bill Russell era, but I mentioned two different eras. Really much more pressure on players of these days than Bill Russell. Not taking anything away from Russell. That was a great dynasty for the Boston Celtics, but I'll tell you, the Bulls really did the job this time around. 6 out of 8, Michael the key in every one. And Steve Kerr said he's the main man. You can tell how tired he is.
Well, Rich, where is Dennis Rodman? We have not heard from him since the game ended.
Not surprising. He's hard to get a hold of sometimes. You know, we chase him around the UC sometimes. He comes out different doors. I don't know what kind of doors there are at the Delta Center, but whatever doors there are, I'm sure Dennis has found a private way to get out.
Maybe he's determined.
He really doesn't like talking to the media, does he?
He doesn't like to stop. He'll talk en route. You have to get him walking, which is very dangerous on the reporters and also the camera guys more so. But he will talk when he walks, but he doesn't know. He doesn't like to stop, doesn't like to talk to the media, does so under duress sometimes. And he's that kind of guy. He's just not very cooperative in that way.
Question about, go ahead.
We're going to say Dan is standing by back at the Delta Center. Speaking of that place, let's go back and join our sports truck and see what's going on with that champagne on his head there.
I'm well covered up. Everything's copacetic out here right now, you guys. Although just about everyone has cleared the Delta Center at this point. All the players are on the bus getting ready to head for the airport and get on their private chartered jet and head back to Chicago. I'd like to be a bug on the wall in that airplane. That should be a heck of a flight back there, shouldn't it? But it's been a terrific night here, obviously, and historic night as well. This is one that people in Chicago should file away in the time capsule and not forget, because we may never see one like this again. Certainly Michael Jordan, if it is his swan song, bowing out with an absolutely incredible performance, that 45 points, and doing all the damage down the stretch as the Bulls won this thing by 1 point tonight, Rich.
And wrapping it up out there, you know, the flavor for this thing, you're in a good position to get the flavor for it. Talking to the players out there in the last couple of days, do you sense this thing is going to end? What's your gut feeling on this, or are they coming back for one more time around?
I would say that the immediate feeling after tonight was obviously joy, and then there's a certain sense of relief out here tonight, Rich. I think that people are glad to have this over with. It's been a long, long grind. You know, it started way back in October on the trip to Paris, which disrupted the early part of everything, and a long and, as we said, kind of a contemptuous regular season with Scotty missing some games and a lot of infighting among the organization. But when it was all said and done, the Bulls came out on top again for the 6th time. And I think when people sit back and rest and look at the tape maybe and get a little perspective on this once the rally and everything else is over with, I would be very much surprised if there was anybody on this basketball team that didn't want to come back and try this one more time next year. Can't speak for the ownership or the management. That's a whole different deal. But
guys, let's see it. Let's see your dance. Let's see the championship dance step there.
he said one thing and then...
I have a feeling there'll be silence through the night here on the south side of the 50-yard line. Back to you guys.
You know, hanging with a shoe. It's another testament.
And I don't know how many people heard that, but that was the first Jordan shoe. That was the first one in the line of many, many to come. That is right.
So you watched the game tonight, and you just can't resist seeing the Bulls at their best again. Well, neither can our Tom Scher. He's joining us now with some highlights of this championship game. Tom?
What a privilege to watch it wherever you were, Alice. And at last, those words say it all. After another long season of games both on and off the court, the Bulls have taken all comers and put together a successful title run for the 6th time. And they did it without Scottie Pippen, a remarkable display of guts and guile. Look at his face. The pain of a bad back. He played just 8 minutes in the first half, but came back great in the second half. Let's go late now. Ron Harper with a shot to beat the shot clock. He gets credit for it. It shouldn't have counted. A bad call that went in the Bulls' favor, and that helped. It tied it with 3.5 minutes to go. All right, now you got John Stockton with a big three-point attempt, putting Utah ahead by 3 with under a minute to play. The Bulls needed some miracles, and there's the man who creates them. Michael Jordan driving to the basket to put the Bulls within 1. And then an absolutely huge play. Utah has the ball, but Jordan strips Malone, creates the turnover. Michael making it happen. Now he has to score. Keep in mind, the Bulls are still down. Brian Russell on him again. The kid can't guard Mike. Virtually no one can in this point. And then there you go. The shot wins the championship, although not quite. 5 seconds on the clock. Utah with a chance. Stockton, no. Bulls control the rebound and win their 6th championship, 87-86. Look at Michael. Can you believe the privilege we all have of seeing this again and again and again? They repeat the three-peat. Jordan finishes the night with his hands raised in victory. A 45-point effort by Michael. Scotty with a couple of big shots in the second half. Tony Kukoc, the unsung hero, with 15 points, and on it goes. If this is the end of the Bulls as we know them, remember this impressive stat. Since they started winning championships, the Bulls have won every NBA final when Michael Jordan played a full season. 6 for 6, as Michael himself pointed out earlier tonight in the locker room. Magic's Lakers won only 5 titles, and it took them 9 years. What a run here in Chicago. Warner, Allison.
Hope it keeps going.
It is absolutely amazing. This team defies any explanation. It truly does. Let's take a break. When we come back, there's lots more coming. Stay with us.
This Butch Harmon golf tip is brought to you in part by Nissan.
Are you losing distance because you sway off of the ball? In other words, you slide to the right? Perfect little drill for you. Take an old shaft, put it right in the middle of your right foot. As you go back, turn inside that shaft. If you sway, you'll run into it. Get out of the sway. You'll hit better shots. They'll go straighter and they'll go further. Straighter and further, better golf.
This is a new Nissan Maxima, a new Altima, and this is the Nissan $100 Challenge. Test drive a new 98 Nissan.
We now join our program, already in progress.
2 days, we'll give you $100 bucks. Of course, if you buy the Nissan, you'll get something even better.
Pretty worth remembering as long as nobody gets hurt. Take it away, Jumbotron, with the bullish highlights. Yeah, the same old stinking feeling for the Jazz. Another championship run stomped on by the Bulls.
And after this one, will the music stop? We'll look into Chicago's crystal ball.
And if it's indeed true, the game at all levels will never be able to replace the game.
We start the show with Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and 6, that's the number we're going to be talking about a lot. It's the number of titles the Bulls have won now in the 90s. It's the number of MVPs Michael Jordan has now won. The Bulls beat the Jazz to win the final series 4-2, and if this was indeed the last dance, the Bulls' final run, it couldn't have ended on a better note for Michael Jordan. First half action of the game, and Karl Malone, happy to be back in Utah with a chance to tie the series at 3 games apiece. Scottie Pippen in pain, suffering from soreness in his lower back, but he started anyway. In the first quarter, he got the jam there, and he's in serious pain. Bulls up by 2 early. Later in the first, MJ spots up. Third rock. Part of a 9-0 Chicago run. Moments later, Pippen is out, headed for the locker room to stretch out his back. And Utah takes advantage. Karl Malone. Yeah, hitting the J there. They love it in Utah. 12-2 Jazz run. Pippen still in the locker room, stretching out. He would sit out the majority of the first half. And Chicago down by 3. Second quarter, MJ carrying the load. In for the layup. Then Kukoc finds him, and he finds net. Bulls up by 1, 36-35. Utah looks to the mailman. Malone up and under on Dennis Rodman. He had 20 points in the first half. Jazz up by 3. Jordan answered, working the baseline, fading away, and scoring. 23 points in the first half. Game tied at 45. Under a minute to play in the first half. Malone finds the cutting John Stockton. And Utah goes up by 4 at the half. The score there was 49-45. And as we said, MJ had 23 in that first half.
All right, so that was the situation at the half. Let's bring in Big Game James Worthy, our NBA analyst, to put at least this first half under the scope. A lot of ball to talk about, and the Bulls playing well in the first half, even though down a few points. But, of course, Scottie Pippen having to leave with that back problem.
Yeah, no question. The first half was definitely close. I really thought Utah had a great chance of winning this ball game, particularly when Scottie Pippen went down. But they really didn't take advantage of his absence. Michael Jordan stepped up big time for the Chicago Bulls. Karl Malone and crew really couldn't move ahead and get this game open, about 10 or 15 points. And then Scottie Pippen came back, and his presence alone really encouraged the rest of the Bulls to start collectively playing some solid defense and holding the Jazz to a low percentage in the third and fourth quarters. And then the Jazz did not come through in the fourth, and Michael Jordan just really took this ball game from the Jazz tonight, no question.
Well, stay put, James. We'll get more from you. Talk about that second half in just a few minutes. That's what we're going to look at right now.
All right, I've got the second half. Let's check it out and see what happened. Third quarter, Pippen getting loose, decides to give the third quarter a go. Meanwhile, things get physical. Look at Rodman and Malone, an early start on their wrestling career, knocking each other around. All we need is a ring here. They keep getting up. They keep going down. In the end, bodies on the hardwood. Malone happy because Rodman gets the foul. After things would settle down, Pippen hurting, puts up a miss. Rodman worms it in, and we're tied at 59. Moments later, Pippen says, I can't do it, leaves the game again, would sit out the rest of the third quarter, time running out in the third.
Howard Isley finds Adam Keefe inside for the bucket. Malone is loving it on the bench. Utah led by 5 after 3. Fourth quarter, Rodman looking to pass, says, hey, wait a minute, I'll take the shot. Dennis, you scored. Yeah, I know, you're going to Vegas. All right. All these years in the NBA, he's still surprised when he puts one in. Bulls down by 1. Then what? More drama. Pippen returns to the game for the pivotal fourth quarter. He would have an impact. Down by 3, Pippen kicks it to Kukoc, who kicks it for 3. We're tied at 70. They weren't done. Jordan making his moves, rolls off a Pippen screen, and sticks the J. Bulls take their first lead of the second half by 1, but the Jazz have an answer. Stockton uses Antoine Carr's screen. Boom, buries the J. Utah goes up by 3. Chicago coming back. What a battle. Pippen turns and hits the J with the sore back. He's unbelievable. Pippen in pain. Bulls down 1. Utah says, give it to the mailman. Malone pulls up alone, delivers the J. Jazz in front by 4 now, 83-79. Under a minute in the game, tied at 83. Stockton, unbelievable. From three-point land, it falls. And the Jazz are up 3. I can't take much of this, Lionel. Under 40 seconds to play. Jordan, driving through traffic, gets the layup. Behold his glory. And Sloan is sweating. Jazz look to respond. Malone doesn't see Jordan. Coming at him right there. That's a steal. Chicago is back in it. Under 10 seconds to play. Bulls down 1. Uh-oh, it's in Jordan's hand. Pulls up. Oh! Chicago with the lead. With 5.2 seconds left, Jordan buries the Bulls up 1. Utah with one last shot. Stockton takes the inbound pass, puts up the prayer. It comes off. Oh, on his home court, the heartbreak. It's no good. Chicago wins their 6th NBA championship, 87-86. The season is over. And look at the celebration. Look at Pippen. He is overcome with emotion. A long season, hard fought, and there's the mailman, Karl Malone, dejected. Jordan and Phil Jackson, there's the picture. There's a lot of love there between those guys as they make it happen. 87-86, the three-peat, 6 championships in 8 years. Unbelievable. Jordan with 45 points in the bucket. What can you say?
Well, MJ wanted this one. This one was going to be special. Could be the last one, so he ties it up with 2 free throws. He ties it up again in the last minute with a layup, and then the steal, and then the game-winning shot. James Worthy, talk about Michael in that fourth quarter performance.
A lot of momentum changes in the second half, guys. Karl Malone and Michael Jordan show no question these two leaders were not going to let their teams die, but Michael Jordan really coming up strong in the second half. Scottie Pippen back with the back really gave them a lift, but Michael Jordan really hit some key buckets for these guys. And then down the stretch, under 40 seconds with that big steal against Karl Malone. And I guarantee you Michael Jordan had been looking at that play all night long, waiting for the right moment to make that steal. But the guy, really, you know, he may go down as the greatest players ever played the game. I played with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and statistically, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has a lot of stats, but Michael Jordan, for what he's done for this dynasty of the Chicago Bulls, it's remarkable. There's no question about it. We'll be talking about him more later on.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Jordan said of all the championships, he said after the game, this was the toughest one. I'm kind of surprised to hear him say that, but obviously they don't get any easier, and this is a hard-fought battle with the Jazz.
Well, a lot of parity in the last 2 or 3 years. These guys won 5, you know, fairly easily, but this one, you know, they had to really go after this one, and I think defensively, that's the only thing that held them up, because teams were catching up to the Chicago Bulls on the offensive end, holding them to 40, 39% shooting sometimes, particularly the Jazz. But this team really came together defensively, as you saw Michael Jordan with the big steal, and then his offense speaks for himself. So 6 championships, can't say anything about that.
All right, James, thanks. Stay right where you are. We're not done with you yet, but right now it's time to head to the big party.
Yeah, there's an open bar in the Bulls dressing room right now. For more from Utah, let's go back to the Delta Center and join our own Kevin Frazier.
Thanks a lot, guys. In this case, sixes are wild. In his 6th game, 6 finals, Michael Jordan delivers the 6th title for the Bulls, and for the 6th time, he is the MVP of the NBA Finals. Incredible performance by Michael Jordan tonight here in the Delta Center. Welcome.
Ready for the ride of your life.
This good right now. I can't see him walking away. It's not that much fun at the golf course, as you know, Jay.
John Stockton hit the biggest shot of his career, a 3-pointer with 42 seconds left. After a Jordan layup, Utah tried to go to Malone for a clinching basket, but Michael poked it away for the steal. and you knew who was going to get the final shot. Michael breaks down Brian Russell and gets a clean look at his 17-footer. Nothing but net. Bulls up by 1 with 5.2 seconds left. Plenty of time still for Utah, but the best shot they could get was another off-balance 3-try by Stockton. This time, though, it was no good. Time for Bulls fans to celebrate all over the world. Michael, Phil, and Scotty a perfect 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals, taking their place as one of the greatest teams of all time. Let's go back out to Salt Lake City and get more post-game reaction from Jim Rose.
Well, Mark, we're here, I guess, attired very nicely now in the three-peat shirts, and we even have hats to go along with it. What a game, huh?
You know what? We look like a couple of goobers that paid about $1,000 to a scalper to sit in the front row, but we are privileged characters and we get to be part of this and get to enjoy it with the Bulls. It's absolutely incredible. When you see Michael do this over and over again, we can never get used to it. I'm not sure he ever gets used to it.
I think his teammates are used to it by now because it just seems like they look for him, they go to him, and tonight in particular they had to because, I mean, Scottie Pippen with the poor back, Tony Kukoc really wasn't getting his shots and everything, so Michael just had to carry it.
Yeah, we're talking to some of the coaches and Phil, and they said, you know, we just put the clapboard away. And, you know, Scottie was valiant. I thought he was terrific. He said, I said, you're going to be the next Willis Reed. He said, I felt like Willis Reed out there, but he contributed in rebounds, playing decoy on offense, going for loose balls. I mean, it was really amazing performance by him. And Michael, you know, he was out of gas. He was dead. He was coming up short on 4 or 5 of his shots down the stretch, but as always, he hits the one that counts. This is truly amazing, and, you know, we couldn't refrain from talking about next year. You know, we just can't sit here and enjoy the moment and let the players enjoy the moment, but it's the question that has to be asked, and it won't be answered until the end of the summer, unfortunately.
You know, when I was in that locker room, there was a lot of melancholy on the part of Judd Bushler and Luke Longley and Steve Kerr and Scott Burrell, guys that may or may not be here next year. Melancholy because this probably is the last dance. I mean, Scotty said, he gave us a little hint when I was doing that live interview with him that he might open the door just a little bit, but on July 1st, I kind of expect Scotty to be either going to Phoenix or Houston.
Yeah, you know, the euphoria, everybody is so excited, they're liable to say something they really don't mean. Unfortunately, they'll enjoy this tonight, they'll enjoy it the rest of the week. Then it becomes all business again. And again, we talked about this earlier in the broadcast, a July 1st lockout appears imminent, so that pushes everything back.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to remember this season. It was a long, long season ever since October 4th of last year when training camp started and we go through the 82-game regular season, 103 games, all of them played. Only one player played in all of them. Guess who that guy was?
Let me guess. But I tell you, we didn't play in any, so we can go party right now.
That's right. By the way, let's bring Kent Niemi in here and show you how he's dressed. Kent's got his three. Yeah, that's good. I liked it. Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, gosh. Incredible.
Covered your first final?
Well, it's rare for a news reporter to experience what you sports guys do, and I can't believe they pay you two to do this. This is incredible to be here at a moment in history like this.
Well, you know something, Mark? He's the only one that didn't get champagne on him. I think we ought to go in the locker room and drag him in there and get him.
And that's it from the three goobers live in Utah. Back to you guys.
Hey, Curly Moe and Larry, where's Larry Snyder in all this?
Larry Snyder is floating around here somewhere. You know how hard that man works. I mean, he just did a marvelous, marvelous job. So did Ken Nomiak. He did a great job. So did Mike Dukowicz. I mean, these guys were fantastic and going in that locker room and also when we came on our first trip, Billy Newsom was absolutely spectacular. All our technicians are. We got the best crew in the business.
We do have the best. They make it easy. So you happy, Kenny?
Well, wait a minute. Hey, Ken, say hi to the kids back home.
Hello, kids.
All right. See, now his boys got to say, his son and daughter got to say hello. Well, I guess that's it. We wrap it up from here, live from the Delta Center for Mark Greco, Kent Niemi. I'm Jim Rose. Back to you guys in the studio.
You guys did.
Letting them celebrate until they run out of steam, and when the crowd thins enough, we've seen it before.
We will fly back later this evening, probably be back.
Chance on Division Street, too. You never know, depending on what the two Jerrys do with the team, but it's been fun, and... And just kind of ease things.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much for all your hard work there at the Delta Center. More for everyone on the Bulls' victory. Meanwhile, let's talk a little baseball.
Who's the greatest of all time, and not when you have maybe the best power forward to ever play the game in Karl Malone. But a good center doesn't hurt. Now, in the Bulls' case, you know, forget about talking about the center. You'll hear NBA executives tell you that what you need is 3 big players that can carry you. In Utah's case, they went with Malone, Stockton, and Hornacek. In the Bulls' case, they went with Jordan, Pippen, and Kukoc. I think it would be even better if Utah could say they're going to war with Malone, Stockton, Austin, and Hornacek. Now they've got the big four, whereas you can also say with the Bulls, I mean, everything isn't just dictated on how many points a guy scores. The Bulls actually have 4 big names and 5. I mean, how can we forget the defense that Ron Harper plays? But, you know, throw Dennis Rodman in that category, who led the league in rebounding again. I mean, rebounds are extremely important. So, yeah, I don't think you need the Patrick Ewing to win a championship, but a center that can give you 10 points a game and 8 or 9 rebounds a game, that is something you do need.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for the call, Jeremy. We appreciate it. We're going to go out to Hanover Park now to talk to Jose. Hi, Jose. Jose, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. Kind of just trying to relax here. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to say, you know, you guys do great coverage. Start watching you guys on, you know, after the Indiana series, kind of like in the middle of it. You guys got great show going. I guess I just wanted to say, with all the stats going around and everything, how come nobody's noticed that the 45 points that Michael Jordan scored tonight, whether it be his last game or whatever, we'll just take it as his last game he'll probably ever play or whatever, is also the same number that was on his jersey when he came back, you know, from retirement.
I did
Obviously, you tune in late because she did mention it.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I pointed that out. That was, what,
But that's why this is the best Postgame show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. She's on the ball.
Oh, okay. Well, then, man, I got to give props to her then.
Thanks, Jose.
All right, thanks.
But, you know,
It's a good point. Point well taken.
Yeah,
for those people that just tuned in late also.
Yeah, I was watching the NBC coverage and stuff, and then, you know, sorry. Oh, you guys are better looking anyway. And Louie, he's cute.
See, Louie's
joking.
Too.
You guys are great. You guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you, you
All right.
too.
Bye-bye.
I imagine most of Chicago's having a wonderful night once again with a 6th NBA championship. And just to let you all know, in case you're trying to get in through the phone lines, and again, we understand they're jammed, we're going straight through to midnight tonight to try and get to as many of your calls and comments because we know it's the only place, the only outlet for you to do so, and still get a chance to look at some highlights while we're at it, too. Let's go back out to the phone lines now. Jason in Chicago. Hi, Jason. Jason?
Yes.
We've been making you wait, haven't we?
That's quite all right.
Sorry.
That's quite all right.
What did you have to say?
Well, I just wanted to start off by saying, Lou, I miss seeing a towel being tossed on you after Fox, you know, after Sports Channel interviews.
I miss having it done, believe me.
But I just wanted to say, I think the reason, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me, but I think the reason why the Bulls continue to win every year is because they have role players, and because Jerry Krause has established people to surround everybody with better players. I mean, you could look at the Lakers teams, and you could look at the Golden State Warriors. I mean, the Golden State Warriors have produced some of the best players in the league with Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, Chris Gatling. I mean, the list goes on. But the fact of the matter is none of these teams are willing to step aside and say, you know what, I'm going to take away any individual accolades and just really play for the team. And if that means not scoring and just being a position in the offense and going out and winning a championship. I mean, that's really where Utah and the Chicago Bulls, that's why they succeed every year.
Yeah, and you know, we always heap on the criticism on Jerry Krause because, again, it appears as though they're dismantling the club, you know, at the height, perhaps another repeat of a three-peat. But at the same time, we have to give him credit, do we not, Lou, for assembling the role players that he did?
Absolutely. You know, Steve Kerr, bringing in a Steve Kerr, and bringing in a Scott Burrell, who, while he may have struggled during the NBA Finals, remember, this is the first time Burrell ever was in the NBA Finals, but provided this team with a nice offensive punch off the bench throughout the regular season. And you're talking about role players. Is there a better role player than Scottie Pippen? This is a guy that if he was the man, there is no doubt in my mind he could go out and every night average 25 points a game if he had to. But here's a guy who lets Michael do all the scoring, and people remember guys that score more than guys who defend, but here's a guy who let MJ do all the scoring and has been Michael's right-hand man. Always been, you know, the Batman, and what do they call him, Superman, Batman, and he's played the part as Batman.
Right.
He plays out, he goes and he plays the defense. If he has to rebound, he goes out there and he rebounds. If he has to run the offense, he goes out there and he garners assists. He does whatever he has to do to help out Michael Jordan and to be his partner on the floor. Same thing with Dennis Rodman. Here's a guy who came in, doesn't even want to get involved in the offense, just wants to go out and rebound the basketball. And think about having a Dennis Rodman on the floor, how many times he's able to grab an offensive rebound and give Michael and Scotty second chances at the bucket when they're on offense. So you're talking about role players, those are two of the best role players ever.
Definitely, definitely. I fully agree with you, and that's what I think. But the only problem is everyone talks about, why didn't Scotty get the Finals MVP? But of course, the problem is that you cannot look past the guy that scores more than 30 points a game. I mean, you just can't look past that.
I don't think you can, and scoring aside, because again, I mean, everyone's always going to point to Michael Jordan for that. It's the heart of a champion and his competitive desire that overwhelms other teams. And I think that's what it was. As much as it was that game-winning shot, it was, again, the courage to make the defensive play at one end, come back, step up, and make that shot. It's his desire to win at all costs and end, every season he possibly can on a winning note. I mean, that's what they play for, and you can never take that away. That's why he's the series MVP. That's why he's the league MVP, because he has the desire that no one else can match.
And I have to bring up one other role player before we move on. What about Ron Harper? Here's a guy who came to Chicago as a free agent, averaged over 20 points a game, was known for his offense for so long, and then he comes to Chicago and is one of the best defenders that this team has. And when they needed someone to stop a point guard, whether it was Gary Payton or whether it was helping out on John Stockton, they always went to Ron Harper, and he doesn't say anything. Here's a guy that averages only 7 points a game, but does what he's asked to do to help this team win.
And again, I mean, he mentioned in the post-game press conference as well, he, came to the league as a scorer, a slasher, a shooter, and he changed that style of play because the Bulls needed him to. And he said, if he's asked to do it again, he'll change his style of play again. That's a role player. That's a guy who wants to win at all costs, who will sacrifice for the sake of the team. Once again, Ron Harper doing it all season long, doing it again in Game 6 to help the Bulls claim that 6th NBA championship. How about we take another break while we have a chance when we come back to the phone lines as we give you all a chance to celebrate with us the Bulls' 6th NBA championship. And don't forget, once again, Tuesday, Grant Park will be there as well. We hope you will be too. When we come back, though, more of your phone calls.
We're going to have another voice out there tomorrow morning. That'll be terrible.
It's a bit loud.
Well, tonight's win seals the rally at Grant Park. It's now set for Tuesday. Yes, at old Grant Park. If you don't even have to leave home to enjoy this celebration, our live coverage of the events begin at 10 o'clock in the morning right here on NBC5.
It's a great place to enjoy it. And this has been a decade like no other for Bulls fans. This championship run began in 1991, took time off in 94, 95, as we all remember, and now it's revisited in 1998. The Bulls have given Chicago 6 trophies and a lifetime of memories. Phil Walters takes us on a sentimental journey.
2, 3, go! 1991. Oh, to be champions of the world just once. Michael versus Magic and the shot.
Easy one. He tries to make it hard.
They made the Magic disappear last night, didn't they?
I'm so happy. I'm happy for the city. I'm happy for the team. This is the most enjoyment time I've ever had.
1992.
There's nothing else you can say other than
the year of the shrug. In 93, reports of gambling, golfing with Slim, and silence. But despite it all, a three-peat. But then...
I don't believe it. Swear to God?
No.
At some point in time, everyone has to make a decision to move forward away from games.
How could he leave basketball?
Gotta leave sometime.
No. So why not when he's older?
Then came Dennis, a league record for winning.
70 has become a reality.
June 97, Salt Lake City, Utah. A man so sick he could barely walk wills a win. The memories stack up year after year, so many years after wishing just one championship.
It's a soap opera.
Soap opera and situation comedy,
The Chicago Bulls.
musical, and drama.
Uh-huh.
One of the longest running shows in sports history.
It's been a beautiful ride.
Sure has. I never thought I'd be able to wear this cap.
Look at that.
6.
And that's the official cap. And you got the shirt. You're all set for Grant Park on Tuesday.
T-shirt, the whole thing.
The whole
That's
9
right.
yards.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Let's see if I can get the computer.
We just get to know everybody so well, and I'm kind of glad we won in Utah. I mean,
You don't meet a girl like...
Fans have been so obnoxious. You want me to say? I won't say it real loud.
we were shouting in there. They've been so obnoxious. So it was really, really exciting for all of us to be able to come out and share this with our men. And
you know what? We better not say that so loudly because this police officer would give us an
the Jazz fans have been pretty good. After the game, they were, you know.
You just bailed us out, did you?
Yeah, we ran.
All right, Kelly, thanks for talking to us.
All right, thanks a lot. Go Chicago.
All right, Kelly Longley, Luke Longley's wife, and she's waiting for Luke and the rest of the guys to make their way out of there. No sign of them yet, guys, but it should be any time now.
You know, I think, Howard, that among the teams the Bulls have played over the past years, perhaps there's more respect for Utah than some of the other teams. There's none of this hatred such as involved with the Detroit Pistons or with Pat Riley's teams or teams like that, or Gary Payton in Seattle. There seems to be more genuine respect for this team and these players.
As there should be, Jay, because I think it starts with the head coach. And Jerry Sloan is a very classy guy. He teaches them to play tough basketball, but clean basketball, except Stockton once in a while, you know, but that is basketball. He's a little guy, so he's got to take an edge. But they don't pull the shenanigans that the Knicks and the Heat have. Utah plays good, clean team basketball, and I think the Bulls have the ultimate respect for them because they knew that Utah, even though the Bulls were confident Utah had a chance to win the series. And I think the Bulls believe that Utah maybe deserved to be the favorite.